I'm an illustrator in 12-step recovery. I go by the name 12 Drawings. The work I do is based on the recovery program I went through, which was based upon the Alcoholics Anonymous big book written in the 1930s by Bill Wilson. Later, about 12 years later, he wrote another book called The 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, which in some ways expanded on that first book. I have been using a 1934 dictionary that dates back to the original Big Book days, and I have decided to try to apply it to the traditions, which were not written until the 1950s, but they were at least partly authored by Bill Wilson. The fourth tradition is each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. Autonomous means, in some ways, just means independent, except for matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. Now, I wondered what that word affecting might have meant back many decades ago. And I looked up in the 1934 dictionary, and affecting meant to lay hold of or attack. And the dictionary went on to put in parentheses, as a disease does. That was in the original dictionary. So the definition is to lay hold of or attack. And then they felt necessary to add, as a disease does. Now, as I was considering how to make my drawing, I really struggled with this because I was caught off guard by the idea that each group should be autonomous except for matters attacking other groups. As a disease does, that just seemed so, I don't know, negative in a way, but what emerged in my mind was an image, strangely detailed image of a couple who live somewhere, and like New York City or something, and they are both sick. They are suffering something. He's got a thermometer in his mouth, and in case you don't know, that's an ice pack, which people would put on their head when they're trying to get their fever down or trying to get rid of a headache. She just came out of the bathroom not looking so hot. And so it's evident from this drawing that these two people are affecting each other because of their closeness. They're indeed not the same person, but they are people living in the same place, and therefore this has happened to them. And I really believe the spiritual message for people in the 12-step groups of all kinds was that the things you do in the name of your group, in the name of Alcoholics Anonymous, for example, will affect other groups, and not always in a good way. They added, as a disease does, not always in a good way, which is the best way I could think of to illustrate it. And just as a little Easter egg, there's a little tiny triumphant arch up here in the corner that looks cracked up at the top. Maybe these 12-step groups were not holding as closely to the traditions as they could. The triumphant arch is considered a bit of a metaphor for the 12 steps. You can always learn more at 12drawings.com. Thank you so much for visiting.